everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome back to our Blooming Aces Roundtable Discussion. This episode, we're going to talk about 5 love languages and how that have affected our life growing up as children and into adulthood. So this is something that we're going to talk about candidly with our friends here. And our panel today, we have myself. My name is Erna Blooms. I am CEO of bloomingaces.com. And my next panelist is Ernie Wang. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
My name is Ernie Wang. I'm in California. I'm a twin sister of Erna, a mom of 2, and I'm here to support Blooming Aces as a business development director.
Thank you. And the next one's our friend Cindy and partner. Cindy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Cindy Pangwana here. I am partner of Erna and brand and strategy for Blooming Aces, and I live in Washington.
Thank you, Cindy. And today I'm excited to introduce our new guest panelist, Rosa. Go ahead, Rosa. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rosa Zarnomsky. I'm Cindy's sister, and I thank you for letting me to be the guest panelist today. And I work as a jewelry designer, and I have an online shop.
Where are you located, Rosa?
I'm located in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Okay, welcome to our group. And so the thing is, I'm gonna start by asking one question. Okay. Well, before we go to that, the reason why we started this is actually from our last episode. We talked about conversation with kids, and then Cindy brought up about the 5 love languages, and that actually ended up to be a bigger discussion that we thought might be really cool to have like the sequel of this as, us being as kids. So 5 of them. So 1 is act of service, 2 is words of affirmation, 3 is gifts, 4 is quality time, and 5 is physical touch. Yeah, so those are the 5 languages, and most of us actually have all those 5 normally, but it's just like we prioritize the top 3 normally on like what we must have from our loved one or from our children, or like our children needs that too, so that's kind of, we normally have like those tendency to have the top 3 that needs to be fulfilled in order for us to feel happy and loved. So that's basically what love languages are. And then so since just a quick recap, so for me, like my top 3 are I think the first one is acts of service, I think second one was quality time, and then the third one was maybe I think words of affirmation. So those are my 3. Ernie, you want to share what yours?
I think it changes over time. It used to be, I think gift was top, but now I feel like it's act of service, quality time, and also still gift is part of it, part of it.
Okay, cool. How about you, Cindy?
Mine is act of service and gift. That's my top 2.
Oh, only 2? I should send you some gift now.
She's at top 2.
All right, it's cool. It's cool. So how about you, Rosa? Do you by any chance know your top 3?
I know my bottom 2.
You know your bottom 2? Okay,
Yes.
what's your bottom 2?
My bottom 2 is gift and service. My top 3 is affirmation, number 1. Number 2, quality time, and number 3 is touch.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting?
That's very interesting.
Yeah, Cindy and I have the opposite.
Yeah, the opposite of us, like a lot of us, like the 3 of us, like act of service, right? What we cross are quality time. So I hope you're feeling love that we're spending quality time right now. Right? So okay, so I'm gonna actually start by asking Rosa first, because you're new to our group, and this is just kind of like very, we're very conversational. It's like kind of like friends, so I want to ask you, did you, I know like, actually I'm going to go back and forth here. Cindy have mentioned to me, like sometimes like you guys are very opposite, right? And how were you guys interact differently, with your parents as kids, what was the challenges that you had not knowing the love languages before? before you know this concept? You know that knowing what you know now, when you reflect back, what was the problem that you saw that was lacking during your time growing up, with your parents and stuff? You want to share that, Cindy?
Uh, our mom, our mom doesn't use word of affirmation a lot, and to me that's fine because I don't do that.
What did she used to do? Like, what did she used to do for you guys?
She give a lot of gifts, and she also do a lot of selfies. Yeah, she buy a lot of food. She likes buying us food. Whenever we come to Indonesia, food, 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 food.
I would like to be her child. Oh boy. So she did that, but that's kind of like the opposite what Rosa love languages, right, Rosa? How
Right.
do you feel about that growing up?
So it was tough for me
It was.
because of that. Yeah. So when we compare stories about our parents in between Cindy and I, we have very different take on our parents. So because our mom doesn't give a lot of compliments. She doesn't respond back. So this is the type of conversation we have on our kitchen table, our dining table. Something like, hey, Mom, I just started learning something, whatever, something new and exciting for me. And she said, oh, that's good. What do you want for lunch?
She missed the point, huh? She totally missed the point.
No, I think she got the point. It's just that she doesn't know how to respond. Yeah, in that, because that's her showing of love is acts of service and gifts, stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Like she actually love you. Say, oh, I love you that you did that, right? And then she just forgot that you needed that affirmation, saying, "Great."
She doesn't
job.
even know, right? It didn't even register in her, right?
Yeah. Totally. This is interesting.
Yeah, I think right. I think it's just a misunderstanding in what the different expression of love is like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for sharing that. I know it's not an easy thing to share. I think I applaud you for and your openness, and your vulnerability with us. And this is something that I believe our audience, could relate to, because some of us sometimes doesn't know that, and our parents did not know that. So, Ernie, do you want to share anything from childhood wise, our own childhood?
I think it's our mom is somewhat similar in terms of giving food, and I think that's why we adopt. They whenever there's birthday, always give, always celebrate. Like kind of like it's a lot of gifts giving, I guess, and that's probably why we've like that's what we're supposed to do. However, I remember our mom actually pretty good at giving a word of affirmation at the same times.
Yes, I agree.
I remember feeling like, oh, I'm a good kid because she said, like, oh, yeah, this is good. It's kind of like there's an affirmation. And however, because of that affirmation, I noticed that I become a people pleaser at the same time because I crave that word of affirmation. So there's a plus and minus, of having that, because if you grow up without a word of affirmation, sometimes you kind of have to create your own word of affirmation and be your own cheerleader,
Yeah.
but like because I have that from mom all the time, right? I'm like, oh, I'm the good kid, and then so now I mean even now I feel like, oh, you know what, I kind of crave that, I'm always looking for that word of affirmation either from the leader, from your boss, and like kind of thing. So you just grew up differently, so
Yeah, for sure. We are like in Indonesia. We Rosa, Cindy, Ernie, and I, we grew up in Indonesia, and there we're not very touchy feely, not even giving hugs to
Right.
strangers
Yeah.
here in the US. So it's completely.
I actually remember that when I was 24 when I think I got the first hug from my dad, because I remember that I was taken aback. I was in the airport saying goodbye, and that's unusual for people in the Western world, right? But I guess it's not really that unusual for us in the rest of the world.
Yeah. Actually, what's funny? Like when I came to US, like we're all, like we give each other a hug, even like, new friend or whatever, right? And I went back home one time to Indonesia, and then I have a friend who is a male, right? And he actually, we're just good friends. And then like when we were about to say goodbye, I gave him a hug, and he was kind of like, like he was kind of shocked a little bit. And I told
I
him,
remember that. Yeah.
I forgot it's not America, So it's something is cultural too, that I think I'm so glad that you're in America now, because we give hugs more, so you feel more love.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So I actually want to share one thing that hopefully will jumpstart something that in your family, Cindy and Rosa. Okay. So we have brother, and recently I asked my brother. He is 1 year younger than us, and for some reason I think he struggled a little bit within the relationship between him and our mom. And I have no problem with our mom. Okay, I feel so loved. I feel like I'm her favorite or something. I don't know. That's just my feeling, right? I think it's because you touch on a lot of a lot of what I consider, love. Quality time, because we will go out and hang out, shopping together and things. That's quality time. And then I was fulfilled because he always compliment me. You know what I mean? Like on my creative work. And then the another thing is, what did I say? What's my love language? Oh, I forgot. Acts of service. Yeah, and she always does, a lot of things. Like one time I remember, I was like falling behind on my sewing class, and then she actually helped me with that. Surprisingly, the next morning she helped me already. I was shocked. So that's acts of service. So I felt love, right? But our brother didn't feel the same way. Like till recently, like I would say last year, he didn't, feel that kind of love. And I just feel like they always struggle, And so recently, I asked my brother about this. I said, "Hey, what are your love languages?" And then so he said, words of affirmation, and also physical touch. Those two are the two that my mom never give him, or very, very rarely give him. She always nag, for example. She's a very lovely lady. Our mom worked really hard. She's all about acts of service, right, Ernie? Our mom is all about giving acts of service. That's her. But turn out that my brother needs that words of affirmation and physical touch first before he gave her the act of service. So that was kind of like the backward cycle, right? And then so after I told my mom about it, I said, "Hey, do you know that that's what he needs?" And then my brother said, funny, like I talked to them separately, and then my brother said, "Yeah, if she could just ask me nicely and give me compliment, I will do anything she wants." I'm like, well, that's a quick switch. So I delivered the message, and then now their relationship is much better because my mom learned how to, cut him some slack and be respectful and ask him nicely and compliment him afterwards. And then actually, I don't know if she gives physical touch or not, because that's kind of a hard thing for her generation to do, so I'm not sure, but I can see improvement just by improving one of the love language. So anybody else have something that sparked their mind as I share this? Cindy, Rosa, Ernie, anybody?
I actually want to give the floor to Rosa. I want to learn more about Rosa, actually.
Yeah.
I
Me
to know
too.
about this topic. I really, really want to hear more about your stories, what you learn,
Mhm.
like especially now with in adulthood, like how do you
All right.
proceed
Well, I'm.
forward based on what you learned.
Okay. Let's see. Based on what I'm trying to think about what this is about childhood, right? Let me just digress slightly a little bit. It's funny that I asked my husband last weekend what his love language is. It turned out to be we have the same top three.
Oh,
He
great.
doesn't exactly, yeah, he doesn't exactly know he's the sequence, right? The number one and all that, but at least the same top three as mine. So that I thought that was interesting, and I think I somehow understand when. See, here's the thing: what I think I'm learning is to be more sensitive of what the person is in need, right? Like when they're having husband and wife, we have issues, mom and dad have parents and child, we have issues too. But by being sensitive of what they need, then we can kind of switch gear and catering to that need first, and avoid friction, right?
Right.
Avoid friction, right? Yeah. So then with let's see, when I'm okay, here's a recent incident with our mom.
Okay.
I was in the middle of speaking through Zoom, like us right here in a round table, and what I thought I was giving, I aced my delivery, the teaching and all that, and this is after 1 hour teaching, coaching type of thing. And so when we open up the form for question and answer, comments and stuff, what our mom came is, she criticized the delivery.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's the first thing that she's not critical at all, as you know, right? But she's a nice lady, but it's just something in her mind that she just blurted out that the criticism. And so then Cindy, not understanding that the love language, she is actually becoming the buffer between me and mom, and so we reconcile. So that was nice to have.
How did you do that? Can you share with us how you, Cindy, and
Cindy,
how did
go ahead,
you
Cindy.
process that? Like how did you actually how you reconcile that? Like, did you tell your mom?
I have to translate a lot of things that she does out of love. For example, my mom used to cut fruits for us to eat when we were little, and then she will, let's say mango, and then she will eat the walk for herself, and that's actually an act of love. Right. And then she packed bread for us to make sure that we are not hungry when we are traveling in the car or whatever. That's actually an act of love. So I have to translate a lot of things to Rosa.
Oh, I see.
That's how Rosa like, oh, okay, so mommy actually loved me. Things like that. And these are things that didn't cross Rosa's mind. And words of affirmation is also something that never crossed my mom, I guess. And then to think further about it, because my mom's love language is act of service, I have to tell our brother too to do the same thing, like do something for mom, and then she will feel very much loved by you.
Yeah. So Rosa, like wait, how about your mom? Like, did you tell your mom about Rosa's love language by any chance?
I did. I finally told her about it, but she's 80-something years old, and it's not very easy to change gear just like that.
Yeah, it's easier for us to change our perspective than her to change her behavior, right?
Yeah.
So Rosa, how did you feel about that? Like, after you realized, like, you step back and saw it differently, how did that change your dynamic?
Oh, it really helped. It really helped, yeah. And so that really reset our situation at the time, and because of Cindy's being, she's a good mediator. She's a really good mediator. So my mom came and our mom came and apologized, and we had a good time. And so we're good again. We're friends again.
Oh, I'm so glad. I
want to add something to Rosa, actually.
Yeah,
I want to go back in time, when you were childhood, because not knowing that, we all have different love language, right? And because I can see, as you're telling the story, I can feel the pain, a little bit of pain, or like, because like growing up, right? Do you feel, actually, I don't even know, like, at which point you actually realize that word of affirmation is your love language, number one. Number two is like, because you did not get that, do you feel that your mom is more critical to you than to Cindy, for example?
Yeah. At what point? I think the first time I remember it was when I switched careers. So I was an engineer for a few years, and now I'm so from technical to being a creative. being a creative in our culture is not really perceived as prestigious, right?
Right.
So then I realized at that point, I realized that I have based on, I mean, made decisions, important decisions even, to, this is all subconscious, yeah, that I base it on how in getting approvals from our parents, and that can be dangerous because that can be right, yeah. So so now I understand it. I It is still kind of looming in my mind, but I'm more aware of it. So I would just take back a step back on my decisions and understanding, putting it in a checklist. I mean, not a checklist, what do you call it? Checkpoint criteria. Am I making this decision based on craving for affirmation, or is it based on my real to life calling? So
Right.
that
Also,
I put that in that filter
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah,
time. Yeah.
that is an excellent, like, that is a wise, like, distinction right there. You just kind of like, I can feel you're taking your power back.
Yeah.
When was
Yeah.
that? Do you remember?
Oh,
Recently or
in 2003, I think.
okay? So
That was a while ago, but it took me a long time to understand what it is first, and then to understand to know what to do with it, and then take back the power. Right? Did I answer your question?
Because
Sorry.
when Cindy's when Cindy was mediating this is Cindy, was it recent, the one that you're mediating this?
It's very recent.
Yeah,
And
but you mentioned that your turning point, Rosa, was 2003, right? When you realized that, am I making decision based on this, based on craving for affirmation, or based on, you know, um, your life calling, pursuing life calling, right?
Mhm.
What was it that time that helped you broke that? You know what I mean? Like, you were able to take that part. Do you remember by any chance what?
On 2003, it was just like a seed, a tiny seed in my mind. You understand what I mean? Yeah, it's just
Like
a
reading a
tiny seed.
book,
I didn't
or
eat.
yeah, were you inspired by something? There's always something that kind of spark you, like those seeds, like you saw something, you read something, or maybe I'm just making stuff up here, but I'm just so always curious about what is that turning point in people's mind, like where they suddenly, sometimes it could be sick and tired. Sometimes, like, I have to say, like, something, maybe your own self saying, I'm so sick and tired of being depressed. I'm so sick and tired of, like, playing small, what I'm saying? But what was it? Is it coming internally or externally? Do you remember?
Okay. All right. I guess I'm gonna have to go many years after that. I think it's so that in 2003 it was just a seed, right? So I didn't even know what it is, and then someone verbalized it for me, and many years after. And then, yeah, you're right. It is just a pain of feeling tired, sick and tired of feeling small, of questioning my decision all the time, my path. Yeah, questioning my path. Yeah, so that I'm just sick and tired. Right.
Yeah. Well, that, what, that's, to me, like, I've noticed this. That's, to me, so interesting too, that you share this. I feel that there is this. I think our human nature, believe it or not, we're like survival, right? Survivor, and that is a survivor thing that you did not realize you have it in you. And to me, this is kind of like beautiful blessing. You know what I mean? Where even when you're like at the down moment, and like you're supposed to, like, just give up, but you didn't give up on yourself, which means that you have self-love. You actually have that self-love, and it was just only buried by all of this cultural upbringing that you're not expose yourself to, or maybe not even realize it's there, like something that they said, right? Like, what did they say? You don't know what you don't know, right, Ernie? Like, you don't know what you don't know is like most of us. And I think it's great that this is one of the reasons we are here, right? To make sure that people know more, and the more we learn, the more we don't know, and the more we seek, you know. And that curiosity, I think, is really cool, you know. So how about Cindy? Do you have any challenges maybe with your dad or with each other, let's say, within you, the two of you? You know, do you guys have that kind of challenges at any time because of the different love languages, like with each other, siblings?
Not with family, but more with co-workers in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would be doing a lot of stuff. I'll be cleaning the office for the community, for the importance of community. And
Right.
then there will be 1 or 2 person that will not do it. Just no, I just care about my own space. Everybody else, I don't care. That to me is like so selfish. But then, as I come older, that's sorry about that. As I come older, I realize it's more like a calling also to each other to complete wherever that is empty. Then you go into that to complete the roles or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, for sure. How about Ernie? Do you want to share anything about, anything else regarding this like upbringing, even sibling, like myself, like siblings, like you, me, Hadi, Henny, right? So from there, like do you have anything that you observe that you think it has to be addressed?
I think human, like you mentioned, human nature, right? Even we realize this, after we learn about love languages, we learn what our love languages, we know who, or people around us, like this is their love languages. But somehow, as a human, we always fall back into that stress trigger, like the triggers that still put us back into that feeling, right? For example, the brother,
Yeah.
right? Our brother, right? Like growing up, I'm like, oh my God, he's always the one to play games, doesn't care about everyone else. Kind of like that is the idea that I planted in my head, which is so
Yeah.
not true, because right now he's the top caregiver for my dad, our dad, that I will trust. Actually, he know the everything, how to do the tube feeding. I don't even know how to do that, and how to the medicine, the list of medicine. I was impressed. I was like, the level of care, the level of detail that he always had, but never been put into good use, I guess. But in my head growing up, I always have that trigger saying, oh my God, he's not doing this. Not, and then so
Yeah, I remember you
this
used to
past
speak to that.
year, it's revealed to me that was a story that it was not right. It was not true about him. And yeah, he does just simply need the word of affirmation to bring out the best in him, right? And then so that's what I learned, I think, this past year, that I have not been giving that to him, to my brother.
Yeah.
I think
But
Erna's really good at
that,
like
that's
realizing
interesting.
that.
Can I ask you about that? Why is it that you did not give it to him? Do you remember? Like, could it be something internal that you are also going through that is not being met? That's why you couldn't see that in him. Now that you can see it, what I'm saying.
No, I think it's more like my empathetic nature to my mom, to our mom, right? So
Yeah.
because I really care about our mom, right, and she's taking care of and so like when my brother who's there and not taking care of my mom, I lash out for my mom,
Oh, you're defending her in a way.
So and our mom tend to report to me things like, oh, he didn't do this, didn't do that. He didn't know. She didn't know about love language. She didn't know about that he has changed. And we both fail to recognize my brother's gifts. Right? We both fail to recognize his love languages. Right? And therefore we did not get our love languages. And I also, the fact that I listened to my mom without really understanding the full truth and what really happened, so that's, I think, what I learned, to not be judgmental to anyone, right? And really truly understand both sides, no, don't just take someone else's what they say, even that's your mom,
Yeah.
That to be the truth,
Yeah.
because a lot of time she just perceive things the way she perceived things, the way she grew up,
Yeah.
her mind may not be as trained otherwise.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I learned.
I actually have something to share about that too, about our brother situation. I used to be like on the Ernie and our mom side, like on the jump wagon. Like we're kind of like thinking like our brother is just doing his own thing and not thinking about. But I want to share something. There's a book called here. I'm going to show you the book. This thing. Okay, I have this book called The Secret Language of Birthdays. Okay, so when one time I was introduced with this book from work, and I will start reading it for myself, my kids, and my spouse, and and just everybody in the office. And I just realized how accurate they are, like describing who we are. So I was curious. I always curious about my brother, our brother. So like I read about his, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's actually could be a good manager. You know what I mean? Like I never see him in that light. Okay. So then that's when I actually start shifting my mind. I was like, wait a minute, maybe I'm missing something here, So then that's when actually my relationship with my brother, our brother is still, starting to, Ernie, you might notice this when I start saying, hey, you guys, give him a chance, talk to him respectfully, blah, 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 And then but that was coming from outside source that make me realize that, wait a minute, maybe we're not giving him a chance, you know what I mean? And then I have that kind of like, moment that Rosa actually experienced where growing up, I felt the black sheep in the family, believe it or not. Okay. Like I felt that way because I don't know why. I think like with our dad actually, not our mom. I feel like our mom love me. Okay. But our dad, yes, love me, but not that much. You know what I'm saying? Like compared to like, I feel like he loved our little sister Henny more. You know what I mean? Right. And like I think growing up, I felt so strongly like that, which has affected, my upbringing basically about my relationship. But so I think like I have like a moment where I feel sick and tired of feeling unworthy. You know what I mean? Like I feel like unchosen, unworthy kind of thing. And finally, I just like, I'm gonna make my own, calling and all that stuff, And then suddenly, like after I heal myself. Not long ago, actually, it was been a process. That's when actually we able to see our brother in a different light. And same thing with Rosa, like I think she was able to see, your mom, right, in the different light. So Ernie and Cindy, do you have anything to share about? Do you have those moments where you feel that something shifted in you, where you feel like suddenly, like Ernie said, empathy? You start having that power to have empathy with others, and you start giving the love first before expecting the love for us, and then it kind of becoming a cycle.
For me, giving love, interestingly enough, you were talking about giving love to other people, right?
Yeah.
That change of giving love to other people. To me, it's that change of giving love to myself.
Awesome. Right. So good. That's a good point right there. Yeah, I think each one of us, right? Looks like every one of us, like Rosa, you just found that love for yourself. You too, right, Cindy? You have moments of that. I have moments of that. Ernie, did you have moments of that when you start taking charge of like, I have to take care of myself too,
Yeah, I mean, I think we all like to give and all, right? So we felt like we're selfish by thinking about ourselves, but you know what? If we don't take care of ourselves, we can't give love to other people.
Correct.
In a bigger way,
Yes.
You can only do so much. When your love tank is full, that's when it will overflow to other people.
Absolutely, right? Yes.
And so, actually, I know we need to wrap up soon. And basically, I was just wondering, like, we have all been blessed, all of us here, to come across this concept of 5 love languages, right? But I know some people who will be listening to this roundtable conversation, and they have never actually heard about love languages, right? Or even have, to have someone to discuss with,
Yeah.
Can anyone like maybe jump in and advise like what should they do if they don't have that other person who discuss this with?
Actually, number one, I mean, like to me, like we have at Blooming Aces community here. We have a free community, Facebook community that can help support that. If anybody wanna, join us and start a conversation in our trail, we will, probably reach out, maybe create our own mastermind, around it if it's enough people, or like we can just, they can also comment on our, YouTube channel and said, hey, I need some help, please, give us your how a way to reach you, and then we can probably help you out, and if you have not picked up the book about 5 love languages, pick it up so you understand the examples of it. But I understand that sometimes you need that person to to kind of work with you through it, but I think the last, like, I know we have to wrap up soon, but I want each one of us to kind of go through just a quick, like 2 or 3 tips of what you will do for self-love. How do you make yourself feel love? So maybe start from there. Maybe our audience can start with that. You know what I'm saying? So who wants to go first? Like, what do you do for self-care, self-love? How do you take care of yourself daily or weekly? You know, like some kind of something that make you feel like I'm happy again. I'm full. You know, my love tank is full. So Rosa, you want to go first?
My tips will be to have people that you trust around you, yeah, and bluntly, or I do it by saying to Cindy or my husband, "Hey, I need a pep talk. Hey, I need."
Nice.
Yeah, basically, instead of expecting them to read our mind, I basically just give him, here, this is my instruction manual. This is what I need right now. Give me, and you don't do it to anybody, to strangers that you don't know, right? Because then you know that it's not gonna be genuine, but from people that you trust. Yeah.
Right. So good. Oh my gosh, that was good. I love it. Very, very good. Cindy, you want to go next?
I am an introvert, so my need first is a space for my
I was
own.
trying to guess that.
So lately, I've been waking up at 5 a.m. when there is nobody else, and then I will do my quiet time. I will do learning. Learning is when I feel like, yeah, I'm going. I'm not stuck here.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I also have to trust other people more by saying no to them, believing that they're going to be okay without me. They can handle it. They're great. They're okay. I don't have to step in.
You know, it's funny, like sometimes it surprised us. I used to be like that. I always say yes a lot, you know, but then I realized that a coach told me to learn to say no. And then sometimes it's like when you say no and then they're okay. I don't know why we always thought that we always have to say yes, right?
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you're able to take that power back and love your space. So anything else you want to share, Cindy?
Nope, that's all. Your turn.
Ernie, you want to go?
I think I'm working on my quality time, about being present for people and being present for me. So I think I really great advice, Cindy. Like, it is creating a space and a time for yourself. You know I usually hide myself in the bathroom. No one can bother me. So even like just 10 minutes, like no one gonna bother me. I have the rights for me.
What do you do in the bathroom?
I will read I do my business, and I will read my word of affirmation, right? So even I don't get love language from other people, to fulfill my tank, I will fill my own tank by reading my word of affirmation.
Oh,
Yeah. And then, so even though my word of affirmation is not my thing, necessarily not my top, but however, by reading it to me, I fill my other tank, by just saying it to me that I am this, that, So I think creating that space and time for yourself is important. And also the fact that it's all about time. I'm a project manager also. So like time management is very key, right? And you learn to prioritize, and you learn who is my top list. If you say I'm an amazing wife, then you set aside time for that. If you're an amazing mom, then you set aside the time for that, to really, really be present for your kid. Even if just 15 minutes, my son will be very happy that I don't look at my phone. I just pay attention to him for 15 minutes. He know that he has a win in that day because my mom spent quality time with me. So I'm working on that, to be present for each role that I have in my life, that I chose to be important. Yeah.
Amazing. These are like great stuff. I think to me, like I have a lot of ways actually. One of them, you guys mentioned all of them pretty much, like one of them is like Rosa, like that circle of trust. Like recently I was just like, hey, I need a shoulder to cry on. I always have my sister to call me, like things like that, like it's okay to be just completely straightforward with the circle of trust, right? So that's one self-love for sure. And we are blessed with circle of trust. And then secondly, like I would probably, what I often do daily, like when I'm in the middle of like busy work, I will be like, just like laying down. So, okay, some project can wait. I just put on music, chill on my bed, and just think of nothing except that I'm grateful, that I'm healthy, that I have this place, that I have my kids here, like all that stuff, So just basically counting my blessing and listening to music. And sometimes I just dance, like free dance. I put on some music, sometimes my kids will join me. But, I have like a lot of random things, like because I'm a creative person, I guess, I always get bored with one method. And but Ernie also mentioned something about so that's the space thing that Cindy mentioned, right? I had that space, but then with Ernie, it's like, spending time with the kids too, like affirmation. Like I have like my wall of affirmation, and yeah, sometimes I feel a little bit like my love tank is kind of down, like lower, then I will do the same thing, like affirmation, where I remind myself like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. So then you kind of elevate yourself. You elevate your own worth by saying, I am this. I shouldn't feel this low. I'm playing big here. That's why it's hard. It's not easy to play big. But then what what the what do you call at the end of the day, it's gonna be very fulfilling by the time we go through these challenges. So thank you for sharing.
Can I quickly add something?
Sure. Yeah.
Since everyone's mentioning it, I know why I say yes and I have difficulty saying no to people. And it has something to do with my love language affirmation. Again, if I say no to people, then I'm actually afraid of disappointing people. So then again, it has something to do with the affirmation.
Like you do it because you do it because not because of you craving the affirmation, like the negative affirmation.
That's a very good point.
It's not good though. It's not
good. But you know what? I think what I was thinking is maybe, sorry, I know we're getting a little bit long here, but I think I want to say something about that. Now that we understand that there is this, something what the problem is that I noticed is self-discrimination. I think we can talk about it next time. We self-discriminate ourselves from love. We grew up, watching the Asian culture, right? The women always sacrifice a lot, put the family first, so, but sometimes like I recently, like last year, I was just realizing, oh my gosh, we discriminate ourselves. We forgot to count ourselves in to the self, like to our own care, and we forgot that, we should start there from within. I think that's one of the things why I said when we created Blooming Aces, each one of us in Ace, it starts with us, the self-love, self-care, the self-inner peace, all that stuff. I think if you, so in relation to love language, I think Rosa, maybe maybe you already start doing this, but the habit of actually giving yourself self-affirmation, like, hey, I'm so proud of you for saying no. Tell yourself, give yourself that affirmation, because that's the power you have until you die. I'm saying, like, you can have best friend in you saying, good job. You just say no to that. And because you're focused on what you need to take care of today, considering self-care, your own space, your own health, mind-wise, so I think that could be a good habit. What do you guys think? Yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, so everybody, yeah. Ernie, you want to comment?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So all right. So anybody else want to add any more things before we wrap up? Or thumbs up if we're all good? We're good? All right. So I'm so glad that we actually touched on a lot of really important key, discoveries here, and also at the same time, like ways to help, each other, right? In kind of moving forward in like a positive light, and using this tool called five love languages, as well as, each other, circle of trust. Blooming Aces is we try to grow our community as well. And we want to help, more audience, to kind of connect with their superpower, which is this inner peace, right? Which is, being able to actually take that control, the power for themselves, and so they can help others in a healthy way, not because they're craving something. It's because they feel that they're blessed, then there's someone else in need that we can pull them forward, So I think this is end up to be like something really cool, discussion. And I'm so grateful for our panels today. Thank you so much, Rosa, for coming on. I know you're very busy right now. She has a very busy season in her business. And also Cindy, everybody actually really busy. Cindy, Ernie, thank you so much for taking the time to share your stories. And we are going to talk about some other topics next time. So hopefully you can subscribe to our channel and join us some other episode. We try to roll this out every other week. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone.